Welcome to Rack of the Week 164, called a chip away. I want to say welcome to my newest YouTube supporter, Hugo. And just yesterday, announced a new product, launched a new product, Ghost Aimer 2.0. And this is what the little guy looks like. It's got features that the version 1 didn't have, kind of the center part spins. It's really cool. So I've got a couple of videos and a how-to instruction video on my YouTube website. You can just search for Ghost Aimer and those will pop up and check them out, or go to ghostaimer.com and check it out. And let's see, this week, Chip Away. This is a rack by me recently. Next week, we're going to visit a pro player that I should have had on this channel, on this series a long time ago, Joshua Filler. That's going to be interesting. But this week it's me, Chip Away. Let's take a look at this rack. I start with a standard break shot, just a little bit of an outside angle. And I'm sure this is just going to be a follow stroke. I'm not sure if I don't think I'm putting, no, it doesn't, I'm not putting any left English on that. So it just went straight to the bottom rail and up. Okay, so this is what I call kind of a semi-clustered rack. All these balls are pretty much clustered in the center of the table. You know, sometimes after a rack, you have 6 or 7 free balls, and then you have the remaining balls are still pretty tight. They're loose, but in a triangle in the rack area. But these are all kind of, I call kind of semi-clustered. There's gaps between all the balls, but there's too many of them. I don't have any way to get in here and get a shot on something to run into the other balls and loosen them up. So it's that situation where you got to try to chip away at it, or find one good shot that's going to rearrange them enough to give you a way to get in there and get at them and open them up and plan on a break ball. So I really only have like 2 shots. I've got this 8 ball on the side, or this 14, which is what I'm going to shoot. It's touchy because I got to lean over the rack. You know, I've got to bridge over all these balls and then cut this enough that I miss that 13, but not so much that I hit the point and miss the shot. What are you going to do with the cue ball here? So I've decided most of the balls are still clustered. I've got to do some work here. I've got to chip away. And so I'm going to go ahead and stroke this with some force, as much as I can manage, bridging over the rack. And the idea is the cue ball is going to go to the rail and come up. Now, when you're elevated over the rack, you know, you can get kind of a semi-masse effect if you don't hit it straight. Who knows what this cue ball might do on me, but I think I've got a wall of balls here to stop the cue ball, and then hopefully I have these 2 balls as insurance balls. Like I said, I'm trying to be a little bit more aggressive, because if you're not, you're going to end up with no shot. You've got to find a way to get at these balls. All right, I finally made up my mind. Here I go. So let's put some speed on this. I'm not going to splatter the balls wide, but I've got to try and move something. And I just, I hardly moved anything, but it's just a tiny bit better. And that's what I mean by chip away. So you've got to look at all of your opportunities. So for example, if I can get the cue ball over here, this ball goes in the side pocket, and then my cue ball can open these balls up. So that's a possibility. I think if I was better able to cue at the, if the 3 ball wasn't there, I would be able to shoot this stripe and bring the cue ball over to that area right now. And that'd be a great possibility. Instead, I only have 1 shot, and I almost got hooked. If that cue ball had traveled a little bit farther, I would have been sandwiched between the 3 and 8 with nothing. But like I said, you know, in this type of rack, you've got to take some chances and try and get something to open up a little bit. So I kind of have the same shot, jacked up over a ball. I'm trying to send the cue ball into the cluster with some force and just knock a couple balls loose. I'm just chipping away at the rack. And now it's really smart. You got, like I say, you got to use your feet, walk around, don't be a statue. So I'm taking a look at this 6 ball. If the 6 ball is a very high percentage shot, that is, I have a clear path to the pocket and I'm almost straight in, I might shoot that 6 ball because it removes a ball from the clustered area, and now you've got more access to get at this ball. So it's chipping away, opening lanes to pockets, just chipping away at the rack. Sometimes that's what you got to do. And each time that I shoot here, I almost have only 1 choice of shot. Here I have 2. I've got the 6 or this 13. And I believe I choose the 13. I'm not quite sure. Now this might be, I've shot 2 shots where I went into the rack. This might be a mistake. I get away with it. I go into the balls again. and my cue ball just barely gets free where I've got a shot on these stripe balls here. If I didn't have that, I would be shooting the 8, which is a very makeable shot, but it's a long shot, and you really don't want to have to be doing that in the beginning of the rack. But you noticed I walked over to the other side and looked at what was available for my cue ball from there. I don't want to do too much with the cue ball, and I've been chipping away, and all of a sudden, just a few shots later, things are looking up. After I shoot this 3 ball on the side, I'm going to bump this 5, so that 5 should come clear, and now I've got the 8, the 14, the 6, the 2, and this dark ball. Oh, maybe this is the 4, and that's the 8. But now, all of a sudden, I've got all these open balls. There's still 4 balls that need a little bit of dealing with, and like I said, I'm going to move this orange ball right now. Chip away. Just keep the cue ball alive where you've got at least one shot, and just keep working at it. So I'm trying to hold the cue ball for the 8. Ran the orange ball into this stripe, so that didn't work out great because I kind of tied these balls up. What are you going to do with those now? So I'm making the most of my opportunities, but every shot, I only have 1 or 2 choices, and that's kind of what these racks are like. You just got to keep chipping away at them. Now I went and looked at my opportunities, my next opportunities, and you don't want to think immediately, I've got to run into these balls. Not really. Always think about what's open. Okay, so this side pocket is open to both of those balls if you position the cue ball there. So that might be an option. You might end up with a shallow angle on the 6 ball and just go boop. So long as you have a high percentage positional route, you can go short side and you don't have to bump those balls. Just keep that cue ball under control. Now, I don't remember exactly what I chose to do here. Oh, I do now. So, yeah, just minimal cue ball movement. And I went and checked to see what I could do. So I've talked about this before. Identify your problems and deal with your problems. So I have 2 problems. That's these 2 balls and these. So obviously the 6, it looks like, is going to turn out to be my break ball, although it could be the 1 ball as well. But I need to deal with these problems, and that drove the decision for what to do with the cue ball on the 8. I thought about short side position, like I mentioned, but instead of short side position, I have this shot now. The cue ball is going to go to the rail past the 6 and then spin up and just tap these balls. I'm going to have a shot on the 8 or one of these balls. So a little bit of a risk. I really don't have an insurance ball here. But again, you're not always going to be able to have an insurance ball. You just got to keep chipping away. And I'd like to hit the 2 ball full, which is what I do. A little bit of spin, pull that off the rail. Now I have a shot on the 1. I have a shot on this stripe. And I can work the problem from here. So now I'm taking a look. What's the problem? What's the only problem left on the table is these balls. And it's not much of a problem because you have to look at available pockets, paths to pockets. So this 15 goes here. Once the 15 goes there, the other 2 balls both go here. So it is possible to clear the remaining balls without bumping into anything. You don't have to bump into anything. I think I choose to bump into something anyway. I don't remember. I think I draw back off this 15 because I have an angle to move the 5 out of there. Yeah, like that. So moving the 5 out of there, I'm going to have a shot on the 15 or the 5, or, I don't have a great shot on the 8 because I'm jacked up over here. So that was a bit of a risk. I'm not so sure about that shot, but I do have a clear shot. I could shoot the 2, but I do have a clear shot on the 5 ball as well. So how am I going to run the rest of these balls? All the balls are finally free, so you're thinking about your key ball. I think I'm committing to the 6 as the break ball. I think. I'm not sure. So what's the best key ball? You've got 2, the 8 ball on the side, but how are you going to get shape on that? Or the 8 ball in the corner. So maybe somehow you shoot the 2 ball this way that's near to a stop shot on the 8 in the corner, and then you're on your break ball. That's one possibility. Another is the 15 is a pivot ball. So maybe you clear these balls and then you go 5-2-8 or 5-8-2, and then you're on the 1 ball here to give you a shot on the 15 to go 2 rails around your break ball. That's one possibility. Another possibility is the same thing, or maybe you go 5-1, 2-8, or 8-2, and then use the 15 because it's in the center of the table, is a pivot ball and get over here, and you can go to the rail and off, and get over here, and you're on your 6 ball. So there's several possibilities. But what I see is right here, I've got a tough enough shot on this 5. I don't want to play for a specific shot where I'm lost if I don't get that shot. So I'm kind of playing to the circle of balls. I've mentioned this and this isn't a great circle, but there's kind of a circle of balls here. So if I get my cue ball in the middle of that circle, I'm going to have options in all directions. And that's the decision I go with, because a little bit of a thin shot, so I don't want to miss this. That means I don't want to do much with the cue ball. So where does the cue ball go naturally? Just like that is where it goes naturally. So play, I don't have a shot for minimal cue ball movement here. So play for the shot that is the most natural if you can't minimize your cue ball movement. So 2 rails, get the cue ball in a circle, and then once that happens, into the circle, and then once that happens, now I'm going to pick my end pattern. And I'm a little bit off angle on kind of everything. And I'm not looking at the 8 ball, which I'm kind of disappointed in, because I like from here, maybe I'm kind of bridged over the 15, but it looks like you have almost stop shots on the 8, then the 2, then the 1 to slide over, and then the 15 is a pivot ball. See that path? That's not bad. Instead, I'm leaving the 2 and the 8 because they're both above the 6. So I'm going to shoot the 1 ball and then the 15. It's a simple matter to shoot the 1, come over here for the 15. And then depending on what angle I get on the 15, I'll figure out what to do from there. I'm not sure if I have to go to the rail or not. Yeah, to the rail now. Great shot on the 15. Super easy shot on the 15. Now I go take a look at this, and I like what I develop here. Because I'm taking a look. The first thing that came to mind, and what I'm looking at right now, is minimal cue ball movement. So I can shoot this 15 and just try to draw the cue ball a little bit. I just want to draw it and try and get straight in on that 8. Again, I'm looking at 8 and then the 2 ball back this way, and I can just boop, slide over here. That's not a bad path, and minimal cue ball, pretty minimal, not super minimal, but pretty much. And what I'm thinking about is if the cue ball comes over here and I have to cut the 8, then I can just draw the cue ball straight over here, and I'll be straight in the side on the 2 to roll forward and get here on the break ball. That's not bad either. I really like but I don't choose either of those. I think about this, and I like the decision that I went with. I took some time there to look. I've got a bit of an angle on this 15. Can you guess what I'm going to do for my end pattern? I think it's a higher percentage than both of the options I just mentioned. What I did was, get past me, Bob. There we go. What I did was I decided that the 8 ball is the best key ball, and I'm going to shoot the 8 in the side pocket. So by staying, here's the shot line to this 2 ball on the side, by staying below the shot line, I'm either going to be able to roll forward with precision, or if I get more angle, I can go to the head rail and down, and I know I'm going to be able, I'll keep my cue ball over here where I'll be able to roll forward on that 8 and get on the break shot. So I think that's a higher percentage play. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think that's a higher percentage play because it's very, very controllable, and I have a shallow enough angle here where I can just tap it in, speed control, and get really nice on that 8 ball. I can roll forward here and just leave the cue ball here, or if I want to, I can go to the rail and spin down and get a little closer and still get a good angle on that break shot. Oh, and as it turns out, I had a stun angle to just stun forward and get a good angle on that break shot. So I like that end pattern. That was a really good example, I think, of just chipping away at the rack. You've got to have faith that as long as you have a shot, that's all you need, and you can get there. Need a little bit of luck, keep that cue ball clear, and just keep chipping away. I thought that was a good example. Now, this time my break shot is pretty far from the rack, and I have a little bit of an outside angle, not inside, but I'm going to be hitting the lower half of the rack. So, I'm drawing the ball. Okay, I thought I was going to follow it. Okay, just kind of a stun off the rack, not draw. All right, that's okay. And of course, now if you look at it, this is a much better result. So this is not a chip away type of rack. And the reason why is less than half of the balls are in the rack area. I have plenty of free balls with which to work with to tap something open. And then I'm going to have a pretty much clear sailing if I can find that opportunity. So there you go. Rack of the Week, 164. Joshua Filler coming up next week. Head on over to GhostTamer.com and check out the new Ghost Tamer. And thank you for watching. Remember, if you're going to play pool, play it straight. See you next week on Rack of the Week. Bye.